In Revenge of the Sith, Darth Vader is made in fire. Mustafar takes his legs, an arm, his skin, his lungs. Palpatine finds what's left and seals it inside black armor like a cage that happens to breathe. Then, at the end, on the Death Star over Endor, the story finally bends the other way. Vader turns on his master. He saves his son. He dies as Anakin Skywalker again. But what if he doesn't get to stay dead? What if the Force pulls him out of that final moment and throws him backward into the one place where every bad decision had room to grow? What if Darth Vader time traveled to the Jedi Council? Let's begin. Vader should have died on the Death Star's cold deck plates with Luke begging him to hold on. The station is shaking. Sirens are howling. The Emperor is gone. And for the first time since Mustafar, Vader's chest rises without hatred chasing the breath. Luke drags him toward the shuttle. Vader's vision smears at the edges. He expects darkness. Instead, he feels a tug. Not gentle, not kind. Something ancient in the Force, like a current grabbing his ankle. Mustafar, not the world outside a viewport. Not the castle he built to stare into lava and pretend it was peace. Something older. A scar in the Force. A place where rage and memory got tangled together until time itself felt thin. His suit sparks, his chest panel shrieks, the air folds, like the galaxy is being squeezed through a fist. Then the world cracks. When Vader opens his eyes, he's standing. Not in a shuttle, not in space, not dying in his son's arms. He's in a corridor he hasn't walked in decades. Bright Republic lighting, clean Durasteel, the steady thrum of a Venator-class Star Destroyer. Clone troopers sprint past him, calling out orders like the war never ended. Vader's mind lands on one word: impossible. Then a second thought follows, colder and heavier. If this is real, everything can happen again. A clone trooper stops dead in front of him, helmet tilting. "Sir, are you injured? I don't recognize that armor. Are you with the 501st? Vader doesn't answer. He reaches out through the Force, and he feels him. Anakin Skywalker. Alive. Unbroken. Bright in a way Vader hasn't touched in 20 years. For a second, it hurts worse than lightning. Not because it's painful, because it's a reminder. This isn't a reward. It's a test with teeth. Vader moves forward. Clones shout after him. One raises a blaster, nerves winning out over training. Vader lifts a hand, not in anger but in command, and the rifle tears free, skidding across the deck with a metallic shriek. The trooper freezes, suddenly realizing he's aiming at something that doesn't flinch. Vader keeps walking. He reaches the hangar bay, and there he is. Anakin stands near his starfighter, laughing like the galaxy is still fixable. Obi-Wan Kenobi is nearby, calm in that maddening way he always is, half smiling as if nothing in the universe can truly surprise him. Ahsoka Tano is there too, a step to the side, eyes sharp, taking in every detail. She doesn't laugh as easily anymore. She watches first. The moment Vader enters the light, the entire hangar tightens. Anakin's hand drops to his lightsaber. Obi-Wan's posture shifts into readiness. Ahsoka's gaze narrows. Clones raise their rifles, forming a loose ring. Anakin takes one careful step forward. Identify yourself. Vader stands still. The dark side around him isn't a wave. It's pressure, like the air is heavier near him. Obi-Wan speaks first, voice controlled, trying to keep everyone alive. Whoever you are, you're on a Republic ship. Hands where we can see them. Vader looks at Obi-Wan through the lenses of his mask. That voice, that composure, that certainty that he can talk the universe down from the ledge. So much started with that. Vader could ignite his saber right now. He could carve his way out. He could kill Anakin, kill Obi-Wan, kill Ahsoka, and make sure the future never happens. The temptation rises fast, sharp as a reflex, and Vader crushes it. He lifts both hands, palms open. Ahsoka's voice is quiet, but it lands hard. You feel like a Sith. Vader's respirator hisses once. Then he reaches up and grips the edge of his helmet. Obi-Wan's eyes widen. Don't! The seals release. Vader lifts the mask away. The face beneath is burned and scarred, half ruined by fire and years. The eyes are older than they should be, weighed down in a way no Jedi ever expects to become. Anakin stumbles backward. "No," Ahsoka inhales sharply. Obi-Wan goes pale because he knows what Mustafar did. He knows the shape of that nightmare. Vader speaks without the modulator, voice raw and unmistakable. "I am you." Anakin's grip tightens on his saber. "That's a lie. A trick, a clone, some Sith illusion." Vader takes one slow step closer. "I wish it were." Obi-Wan's voice is thin. "If you're Anakin, then why are you here?" Vader looks from Obi-Wan to Ahsoka, then back to Anakin. "To stop it." Anakin's jaw clenches. "Stop what?" Vader doesn't soften the truth. He learned too late what gentle lies cost. You fall, you betray the Order, you help wipe out the Jedi, you lose Padme, you lose yourself, and you spend the rest of your life as a weapon chained to a smiling man who calls you his friend. Ahsoka's eyes flash. "Padme?" Anakin freezes. "How do you know that name?" Vader's expression tightens like he's forcing a blade through his own ribs. "Because your fear for her is the door he uses." Obi-Wan's voice drops. "Who?" Vader answers like a verdict. "Palpatine." The hangar feels suddenly too quiet. Anakin's voice turns defensive because it has to. "Chancellor Palpatine is a good man. He's been there for me." Vader doesn't blink. "He is Darth Sidious." The words hit like a crash in the Force. Obi-Wan shakes his head, almost whispering. "We would have sensed." "You didn't," Vader says. "Because he hid in plain sight. Because he was patient. Because he studied you. He learned your rules and used them as camouflage." Ahsoka shifts her hand closer to her sabers. "You can't expect us to just accept that." Vader reaches to his belt and pulls out a small projector. It's scratched, worn, carried like a relic through too many battles. He activates it. A hollow flickers into life. Chaos, smoke, Jedi running, clones turning. Then a voice, calm and clear, the same voice senators trust. "Execute Order 66. Obi-Wan's face drains of color. Ahsoka's mouth parts in horror. Anakin stares as if the image is trying to rewrite his bones. Nearby clones shift uneasily, like something deep in them recognizes the phrase even if they don't understand it. Vader shuts the hollow off. The air feels colder. "That is where this ends if you do nothing," Vader says. "And if you wait for perfect proof, you won't live long enough to regret it." Anakin's lightsaber deactivates without him fully noticing. His voice comes out smaller than he wants. "What do we do?" Vader answers immediately. "You bring me to the Council, now." Obi-Wan looks between Anakin and Vader like he's watching a future split in two. "If there's even a chance this is real, we have to tell them." Ahsoka steps closer, still wary, but focused. "And we need Rex." Vader nods once. "Yes." They move fast. Ahsoka peels off to find Captain Rex and medical support. Obi-Wan sends a tight, urgent transmission to Coruscant. "Council emergency, no details over open channels." Anakin walks like he's inside a nightmare, eyes locked on the broken man beside him. When they reach the Jedi Temple, the corridors feel like memory sharpened into steel. Vader knows these halls. He knows where sunlight spills. He knows the smell of stone after rain. He knows the places where laughter used to live, and every step is a reminder of what he will do if they fail. Temple guards meet them first, yellow blades ignited. Vader doesn't fight. He stands still while Obi-Wan speaks, while Anakin tries to sound steady, while the guards stare at the burned face and the black armor and feel the wrongness of him. They escort him to the council chamber like they're carrying a weapon that could go off. Because they are. The council is assembled when the doors open. Yoda sits like a stone in the center of a storm. Mace Windu stands with arms folded, eyes sharp. Plo Koon, Ki Adi Mundi, Shakti, Saisi Tien, Kit Fisto, masters who have stared down armies. Their sabers ignite anyway. Mace takes one step forward. "State your purpose." Vader removes his helmet again and holds it at his side like a confession. "To prevent your extinction." Mace's gaze flicks to Anakin. "Skywalker." Anakin's voice shakes with anger and fear braided together. He says he's me. The chamber tightens. Yoda studies Vader for a long moment. Pain, I sense, loss, darkness, and regret. Vader meets Yoda's stare. You were right to fear what I become. Mace's jaw tightens. Fear doesn't make him truthful. Vader lifts the projector in his hand. Then don't take my word. Take your own evidence. Ki-Adi-Mundi's brow furrows. Evidence can be manufactured. Vader's voice stays steady because anger won't help here. Then verify the thing you can't fake. The clones. Plo Koon tilts his head. Explain. Vader looks at them one by one. Every clone has a control chip. It's buried in their brains. A kill switch disguised as obedience. When Sidious gives the command, they will turn on you. Mace's eyes narrow. That's an extraordinary claim. Vader nods once. Then treat it like one. Scan them. Extract one if you have to. Put it on the floor in front of you. Yoda's ears droop slightly. If true, grave, it is. Ahsoka's voice comes through a comm from the doorway, breath quick, focused. Masters, Rex is on his way. If there's something inside their heads, the med droids will find it. Mace glances to her, then back to Vader. And you want us to move against the Chancellor based on your warning. Vader doesn't flinch. Not based on my warning, based on what you're about to confirm. Obi-Wan steps forward, voice tight. Masters, I've looked into his mind through the Force. I don't understand it, but he believes every word. Anakin's hands curl into fists. And he knows things he shouldn't know. The Council exchanges looks, suspicion, fear, calculation. Yoda makes the call. Prove it. We will. Then act. We must. Time becomes a blade. Rex arrives. Med droids scan. One clone is sedated. A tiny piece of biomechanical tech is extracted and placed in a sterile field, humming faintly, like something that should never exist. The room changes when the chip hits the light. Even Mace Windu's certainty shifts. Vader watches their faces and feels something he doesn't deserve. Relief. Mace turns, voice hard. We move now? Obi-Wan hesitates. If we strike too openly, Vader cuts in, not cruelly, just urgent. If you delay, he adapts. He always adapts. Mace's stare could crack stone. You speak as if you've watched this. Vader meets it. I lived it. The decision is made fast because war doesn't allow comfort. Mace assembles a team. Not 3 Jedi walking into a trap blind, but a coordinated strike with temple support, guard units ready to seal corridors, and Ahsoka and Rex tasked with one crucial job. Cut Sidious off from the clones. As they move through Coruscant, Vader feels it, Palpatine's attention turning. The Sith Lord senses the pressure in the Force and smiles somewhere behind a pleasant face. They reach the Chancellor's office. The doors open. Palpatine looks up with that warm, practiced smile. Master Windu, to what do I owe the pleasure? His eyes slide to Anakin. And my boy. Then his gaze lands on Vader. The smile doesn't disappear. It sharpens. How fascinating, Palpatine says softly. You've brought me a ghost. Anakin ignites his saber. It ends here. Palpatine leans back slightly, as if entertained. Does it? Mace's saber snaps to life. In the name of the Galactic Senate, you are under arrest. Palpatine's expression twists, not fear, not surprise, something closer to satisfaction. At last. The room detonates into violence. Palpatine moves like a living blade, red saber flashing into his hand. He lunges with terrifying speed, forcing the Jedi back before they can settle into formation. Obi-Wan and Anakin split to flank, blue blades working in rhythm built from years of war. Mace meets Palpatine head-on, Vaapad turning the Sith's fury into fuel. Vader doesn't rush in. He watches. He waits for the move he knows is coming. Palpatine laughs as he fights, voice dripping with delight. You see, Skywalker? They fear you. They fear what you could be. Anakin grits his teeth. I'm done listening. Palpatine's eyes flick toward Vader, venom sharpening his voice. And you, the broken thing that thought it could crawl out of its own grave. Vader finally ignites his saber. Red light blooms in the room, several Jedi tense at the sight, instinct screaming at them to strike him too. Vader doesn't look away from Palpatine. "I didn't come back to serve you." Palpatine's smile widens. "Then you came back to die." His free hand snaps out. Lightning. Blue fire rips across the office, slamming toward Anakin. Vader moves. He steps into the storm and takes the bolts across his armor. The suit screams. Circuits whine. The familiar weakness claws at him, trying to drag him back into obedience. But this Vader isn't the same chained weapon Palpatine remembers. He's older, meaner, and he's spent years quietly hardening the parts of his suit Palpatine used like leashes. Not enough to make him immune. Enough to buy seconds. Anakin stays standing. Obi-Wan keeps pressure on Palpatine's blind side. Mace drives forward, face set in brutal focus. Palpatine shifts tactics instantly. Fear. His eyes lock on Anakin. "Senator Amidala is in danger." Anakin stiffens. Palpatine's voice becomes gentle, almost paternal. "Only I can protect her." Anakin's hands tremble. Vader hears the old trap opening like a door. "He will still let her die," Vader rasps, pain shredding his voice. "He only wants you kneeling," Palpatine sneers. "Would you like to test that, boy?" A comm crackles on Anakin's belt. Padme's voice, panicked, cut short by static and a distant shout. Anakin's breath catches. Vader watches him and feels real fear, not Sith fear of losing power, but human fear of watching himself fall again. Obi-Wan's voice slices through. "Anakin, stay with us." Mace barks, "Focus!" Palpatine whispers, "Kneel." Anakin closes his eyes for a heartbeat. When he opens them, he isn't looking at Palpatine. He's looking at Vader, at the burned face, the ruined body, the living proof that surrendering to fear doesn't save anyone. Anakin's voice shakes, but it holds. "No." Palpatine's expression snaps into rage. "Then you are nothing." He throws lightning wider, brutal enough to shake the windows. Vader steps in again, body screaming, holding the line with pure, stubborn will. That single moment is all Mace needs. Mace surges forward and disarms Palpatine with a clean, decisive strike. Obi-Wan drives in, cutting off escape. Anakin presses close, blade at the Sith Lord's chest. Palpatine reaches toward the desk, fingers twitching toward a hidden control. Ahsoka's voice crackles through Mace's comm from outside the office, tight and urgent. "We jammed the Chancellor's private channel. He can't signal the clones. Rex confirmed it." Palpatine's eyes flicker, just a flicker, of genuine anger. Yoda's voice echoes through the Force like a bell struck in the dark. "Finished, you are." Palpatine looks around the room, and the mask finally slips. The charming Chancellor vanishes. The Sith Lord is bare beneath it, hatred and hunger in one ancient face. Mace's saber hovers at his throat. Anakin's blade is at his heart. Obi-Wan's is at his neck. Vader, on one knee, smoke rising from his armor, watches the end of the monster who made him. Palpatine stares at Anakin with absolute contempt. "You could have been everything." Anakin's voice is steady. "I can be better," and he strikes. Palpatine convulses. A wave of dark energy slams outward, rattling the room like a dying storm, then collapses into stillness. Silence fills the office, heavy, stunned, real. For a moment, no one moves. Obi-Wan looks at Anakin like he's seeing the choice he prayed for. Mace's expression is hard to read, because the Council's fear of Anakin has always lived beside their hope for him. Now they're watching which one won. Anakin drops to Vader's side immediately. "We can get you help." Vader's breath is thin. The edges of him begin to shimmer, like reality is deciding where he belongs. Vader looks down at his hands. "It's changing." Anakin's voice breaks. "No, don't you?" Vader's gaze lifts to Obi-Wan. For a second, the rage that defined him is gone. "You were right," Vader says quietly. "And I was wrong." Obi-Wan swallows hard. "If I had..." Vader shakes his head once. "Don't carry that." He turns to Anakin, forcing the words out through pain. "Padme, go." Anakin nods instantly. "I will." Vader's shimmer worsens. The suit hums like it's losing its anchor. Mace Windu kneels slightly, studying him with a warrior's respect that surprises even himself. "You came back to stop this." Vader's eyes close for a beat. "I came back because I was tired of being the ending." Yoda steps in, supported by nothing but the Force. His voice is gentle. "A chance you were given. Use it." "You did." Vader exhales, and it almost sounds like peace. "Make the order wiser than it was." Yoda nods. "We will try." Anakin grips Vader's forearm, not as a soldier, not as a Jedi, just as a man holding on to the last piece of a nightmare that saved him. "I'm sorry." Vader's mouth curves, barely. "So am I." Then he fades. Not with screaming, not with violence. He simply dissolves, as if the Force is finally letting him go where he was meant to go after Endor. Anakin doesn't stop to grieve. Padme's voice is still echoing in his head. He runs. He tears through Coruscant's traffic like the rules don't matter, because they don't. He lands hard, sprints into Padme's apartment and meets blaster fire. Assassins in dark armor fire on sight. Anakin deflects without hesitation, blue light catching bolts. One drops fast. Another is disarmed with the Force. The third is slammed into the wall and goes limp. Then he finds her. Padme is crouched behind an overturned table, blaster shaking in her hands. Her eyes are wide until she sees him. Anakin. He crosses the room and pulls her into his arms like he's anchoring himself to reality. "Are you hurt?" She shakes her head, breath hitching. "I'm okay." He holds her tighter. "I'm here." Padme pulls back just enough to look at him. "What is happening? Why would anyone—" Anakin's voice is rough, honest. "Because the Chancellor was a Sith Lord, and because I almost became the worst version of myself." Padme's expression stills. "Almost?" Anakin nods, swallowing hard. "Someone showed me where fear takes me, and he gave me a way out." Padme touches his face, grounding him. "Then we don't do this alone." Anakin's eyes search hers. "I'm still afraid." "I know," she says softly, "but fear doesn't get to choose for you." He exhales and the weight in his chest shifts, small but real. The war doesn't end overnight. Dooku and Grievous don't vanish because one Sith dies. But without Sidious holding the strings, the Separatists fracture. Dooku loses the invisible hand that kept allies loyal. Grievous loses the certainty of a master plan. Republic victories stop feeling random and start becoming decisive. The Jedi Order survives. But it doesn't survive unchanged. The Council doesn't pretend they were fine. They don't hide behind procedure and pride. The chip is real, the manipulation is real, the blind spots are real, and once you've stared that truth in the face, you either grow or you die. Ahsoka returns to the temple not as a problem to manage, but as a voice they should have listened to sooner. Obi-Wan stays close to Anakin, not as a handler, but as family, and Anakin Skywalker does something no one expects. When the Council offers him a seat, offers him titles to make the story neat, he refuses the comfort of pretending. "I'm not leaving," he tells them, "but I'm done acting like I can carry this alone." Yoda watches him for a long moment and nods. Wise, that is. Anakin chooses a different kind of strength, not the kind that wins duels, the kind that speaks early, asks for help, and doesn't feed fear until it becomes a fate. He and Padme go to Naboo to breathe again. Time passes. The Lake Country sees laughter again. And when the twins are born, Luke and Leia, Anakin holds them like they're proof the galaxy can be rewired. Padme watches him with tired eyes and a small smile. "You stayed." Anakin nods, voice quiet. "I almost didn't." She squeezes his hand. "But you did." Years later, when Luke and Leia ask why their father sometimes looks out over the water like he's listening to a voice nobody else can hear, Anakin tells them a story. Not about trophies, not about battles, about a man in black armor who walked into the Jedi Council like a warning that learned how to care. A man who had every reason to be a monster and chose to be a shield. Anakin ends it with the lesson Vader paid for. "Your choices define you," he tells them. "Not your power, not your fear, your choices." And somewhere beyond time, beyond pain, beyond the suit that used to be a prison, the Force feels lighter. Because this time, the Council listened early. This time, Anakin chose the light before the cliff edge. And in this timeline, Darth Vader was a ghost that appeared once, just long enough to prevent himself. If you enjoyed this What If, hit like, subscribe for more Star Wars stories, and tell me in the comments. If Vader appeared in the council chamber today, do you think Mace Windu would try to arrest him? Or would he go straight for the kill? May the Force be with you.